Starring Emily Kruger
and Emma Slater. Woo! And
Kailee Barnes.
Yay!
Yeah!
We love Northrop.
Woo!
Spring sports at Holt High School began 2 weeks ago. Among these include boys and girls track, boys and girls lacrosse, girls softball, boys baseball, girls tennis, girls water polo, boys golf, and girls soccer. Seasons are looking bright for both the girls softball team and the girls soccer team.
Here I have senior Corey Ramirez, the goalie for the girls soccer team. Corey, how is the season looking for you girls?
Oh, we're looking really good. We're best in the league, probably, I would say, and we're going to match up well with Oakland this year, and hoping to win a lot of games. We can't wait to watch you guys play.
Spring break begins once the bell rings on Thursday afternoon. Popular vacation spots this year include Siesta Key, Panama City Beach, and Myrtle Beach. To get ready for spring break, 1/3 of senior girls are using tanning beds. However, that may be changing soon. Representative Jim Townsend said he wants to ban minors under the age of 18 from using tanning beds. He says this increases their chance of getting skin cancer. He says the ban is about saving lives and empowering women to protect themselves, not to mention the saving money of healthcare costs of skin cancer. Currently, minors must receive parental permission before using tanning facilities in Michigan. However, the legislation introduced this month would impose a $150 fine on tanning facilities for violators. Another bill would require salons to register with the state and pay a $75 annual fee. Studies show that the girls who start using tanning beds before they're 35 have a 75% higher risk for developing melanoma, a type of skin cancer. A small town in Michigan is getting big recognition. Traverse City has been named one of America's best small towns by Photo's Travel Guide. The magazine looked at restaurants, museums, and outdoor attractions in the city. Highlights of Traverse City included Grand Traverse Pie Company, Grand Traverse Resort, and the Sleeping Bear Dunes. This week in Lansing, a house was found that contained dangerous amounts of carbon monoxide. 7 people were treated with oxygen therapy due to extreme concentrations of carbon monoxide in the bloodstream. Doctors say that everything will be just fine for them, though. However, they do recommend that people look at ways to prevent carbon monoxide in their house. It's often found in furnaces, faulty gas, and water heaters. Symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning contain headaches, vomiting, nausea, chest pain, and shortness of breath. However, it's not something that one can detect without a detector. You can't smell it, taste it, or feel it. In order to detect it, the fire department suggests that everyone have one detector in each level of their house, if not one in every room.
Hey, this is Kyle Hartman. I'm not here right now, so you're weird.
Okay. In North Carolina, there is a church called the Green Street Methodist Church in Winston-Salem. They vow to stop marriages until same-sex couples can be wed. The timing seemed to be good because the U.S. Supreme Court was set to consider 2 key same-sex marriage issues later this month. There are only 9 states that currently allow same-sex marriages. North Carolina isn't one of them. Later this month, the U.S. Supreme Court will consider California's Proposition 8 to decide whether the voters' ban on the same-sex marriage unjustly prohibits gays and lesbians an equal right to marry. In Kentucky, a judge bans a man from saying bingo for 6 months. He was cited for second-degree disorderly conduct. Police Sergeant Webster said, This caused the hall to quit operating since they thought someone had won. This delayed the game by several minutes and caused alarm to patrons. At first, everybody started moaning and groaning when they thought they lost. When they realized it wasn't a real bingo, they started hooting and hollering and yelling and cussing. People take their bingo very seriously. Had Rayleigh apologized for his actions, Webster said he probably would have sent him on the way with a warning, but he refused to say he was sorry. In Delaware, around 8 p.m. on Friday night, multiple people started to report seeing a brief, very bright and colorful light. Videos and pictures of the event quickly clogged Facebook pages and Twitter accounts. The flash was most likely caused by a boulder-sized space rock that was a yard in diameter. As the meteor entered the atmosphere, it turned into a flying fireball traveling faster than a speeding bullet. The meteor is not cause for alarm, as this is a normal activity for this time of year. There are hundreds similar incidents every year that happens across the globe. NASA is actually adding additional funding to build telescopes that would be able to track dangerous meteors before they enter Earth's atmosphere. After 23 years, 58-year-old David Ranta from New York was freed from prison after being wrongfully convicted of murder. He was found guilty in 1990 when found stealing a rabbi's car who was killed during the same time frame. After years of ongoing investigation, the courts have reasoned that the evidence no longer establishes the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. David Ranta is the third freed defendant in a string of wrongful convictions. In Mississippi, you will never be denied a colossal soda or huge restaurant portion because of a city ordinance. Governor Phil Bryant signed a law preventing countries, districts, and towns from enacting rules that limit portion sizes. It follows New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg's attempt to ban the sale of large sugary drinks in the city. Governor Bill Bryant said, "It is simply not the role of a government to micro-regulate citizens' dietary decisions. The responsibility for one's personal health depends on individual choices about a proper diet and appropriate exercise."
Who thinks more is better than less? Okay, why?
More is better than less, because if stuff is not if there's less stuff, then you might want to have some more, and your parents just don't let you because there's only a little bit.
Right.
We want more. We want more. Like, you really like it. You want more.
I follow you. It's not complicated.
The former president of France, Nicolas Sarkozy, was placed under formal investigation on Thursday for abuse of weakness in a 2007 party funding case involving elderly L'Oreal heiress Lillian Betancourt. Sarkozy has repeatedly denied taking campaign funds from Betancourt. The 90-year-old Betancourt is France's richest woman. Sarkozy faced members of her staff at the hearing earlier on Thursday. He was already questioned in November by judges, but they opted not to open a full-blown inquiry into Sarkozy, who has bowed out of politics but remains a possible candidate for the conservative camp in the next presidential contest in 2017. A car packed with explosives blew up inside a refugee camp on Thursday, killing 13 people in an attack that underscored the intensity of the conflict between the government and militant in the northwestern Pakistan, where refugees are sometimes caught fighting in the middle of the night. The blast occurred in Jalazi Camp, about 19 miles south of Peshawar, one of 3 camps in Pakistan for people displaced by the fighting in the northwest. Militants don't want residents to flee an area of conflict, partly because it deprives them of civilian population where they can hide and undermine their claim that they have local support. In addition to the 13 killed, another 25 were wounded in the blast that happened just as hundreds of people lined up to get food, police officials said. The United Nations condemned the incident and called the attack inhuman and totally unjustifiable. The group warned that further erosion of security could hinder aid to get those who needed it most. All humanitarian services at the camp have been temporarily suspended while the UN assesses the security situation, and the organization said in a statement. An attack like Thursday's is extremely rare, although there have been concerns over the year that militants would try to infiltrate Jalazi and other camps like it. Also, attacks the refugees can be a way to punish them for fleeing in the first place and for accepting government and international help. The Prime Minister of Australia has recently apologized to the thousands of mothers forced to give up their babies for adoption upon birth. From World War II to the early 1970s, unwed mothers were pressured, deceived, and threatened to give up their babies because they thought that it was the best interest of the child to be with a married couple. People were forced to give their babies up. They were drugged, they were shackled to the beds, and they did not relinquish their babies. Their babies were taken. In other news, Cyprus is looking to qualify for an international bailout. The country must raise 5 billion euros in order to secure a 10 billion euro rescue loan. Upon rejecting the initial plan of seizing up to 10% of citizens' bank accounts, lawmakers are seeking a way to raise the money they desperately need. Russia turned down their help, as well as the European Central Bank has stopped to provide emergency funding to Cyprus banks. Banks are now shut down and jobs are being lost. Lakey is restructuring and helping Cyprus cut the €5 billion needed to €3 billion. Issues and plans are still being worked out. The U.S. Air Force is breaking out some of its heaviest hardware to send a message to North Korea. A Pentagon spokesman said Monday that B-52 bombers are making flights over South Korea as part of military exercises this month, and said that despite challenges with fiscal constraints, training opportunities remain important to secure U.S. and Republic of Korea forces are battle ready and trained to employ air power to deter aggression, defend the Republic of Korea, and defend any attack against the alliance. The B-52 flights come amid spiking tensions between North Korea and the United States after the UN Security Council voted to impose tougher sanctions in North Korea following its latest nuclear test last month. North Korea has threatened to carry out a preemptive nuclear attack on the United States, and South Korea said it was nullifying the armistice agreement that stopped the Korean War in 1953.